going to be talking to you about knitting and basically a little history of knitting, the tools you need, and how to do a knit stitch. Before I lose all the guys in the classroom, knitting is actually something that men can do too. These are two blogs popular blogs for men that knit and patterns and stuff, and these are some actors from a press release from Jimmy Bean's Wool. It's a Hollywood yarn shop. They had an event, and in their press release they say that the following actors are active knitters. The first guy is a football player, and then that's Lawrence Fishburne. I don't know if you guys recognize him, and God Bayo. Also, for any of the girls in the classroom that might not be thinking this is a topic for them, one of the top 7 reasons to knit, as listed in the knittingnewscast.com, it's a good way to make friends, and it's meditative, so if you're trying to de-stress from college, it's a good way. So the history of knitting is really hard to determine because of the nature of the materials. Knitting involves basically 2 sticks, and or it started out with organic material, so it doesn't really last very long. But historians have determined that knitting is at least 1,000 years old, most likely older, and it started in the Middle East. And it was originally mostly rich people did it because it was just, or mostly rich people had knit things because it wasn't as common. And then men were actually the first to start knitting guilds, and then sailors knit a lot on ships because it was so portable. This is one of the first examples of a knit item. It's a sock, and it's from Egypt in 1000 CE, and there's Arabic script on it, just showing the influence of the Middle East in knitting. And you can see it's really decayed because it was made from cotton, and obviously really hard to preserve. So some of the things you need for knitting are, I'm going to go over needles and yarn. Needles can come, there's 3 kinds. There's straight, circular, which are 2, basically straight needles with they're attached by a plastic piece, and there's double pointed needles. There's also several material types, including wood, bamboo, and aluminum. And according to knittersreview.com, the slightly rough surface of wood needles and bamboo needles are better. They give friction, so it's better for beginners because you want to be able to go slow and the yarn doesn't slide as much. I have these are here. These are a size 11, which they range in size from 0.75 to 25 millimeters. If you go in a craft store, you can see some of the needles get ridiculous size, but they make projects a lot faster because you can get a bigger stitch. And the next thing we need for knitting, with the yarn, obviously, it comes in a ball or a skein. This is a skein, but typically you would re-roll it into a ball because it makes it easier. And there's every yarn, well, most yarn comes with a label, and it'll tell you the dye lot, which is important if you have to use more than one skein for a project, so that the colors match. It will also tell you the type of material, if it's cotton or wool or acrylic. It also tells you how much yarn is in each skein. It'll tell you the gauge for what size stitch you're going to get with a certain size needle, and it'll tell you care instructions. There's a standard yarn weight system, and as described on the Yarn Council of America's website, this scale 0 is the lightest, or the most fine stitch, and 6 is the bulkiest. Next, important thing you need to know, obviously, is how to do a knit stitch. And it's from knitnaturally.com. It says, obviously, this is the first stitch you need to learn because it's the basic one, and from there, you build off of that. And I have a clip for you guys to show. It's basically, I found a really good video showing how to do the knit stitch. I'm not sure if this is going to be like crazy loud. Or not at all. Hold on 1 second. And this video starts with the stitches already cast on, which is the first step, but I'm just going to skip that.
10 stitches. Take the needle with the cast on stitches in your left hand, and in your right hand take the end of the yarn and the empty needle. Pass the tip of the right hand needle through the first stitch on the left hand needle so that the needle sits underneath the left hand needle. Then, taking the end of yarn, wrap it around the tip of the right hand needle in an anti-clockwise direction so the yarn sits between the two needles like so. Then catch the loop with the tip of the right hand needle as you did for the 2 needle cast on method, but this time instead of looping the yarn round, you push the original stitch off the left hand needle. You're then left with a stitch on the right hand needle, as you can see.
Okay, and that's basically how you do your first stitch. So I hope you guys learn something from my presentation and that you go out and knit something for yourself or for someone else, because they would be super impressed if you gave them a scarf or something.